Hello friends, welcome to this video. Now, I know that the spooky season has passed for many of you probably, but I am feeling really spooky right now. So I figured I'd make a little bit of a belated Halloween video. Who knows, maybe my next 3 videos will be Halloween videos. I'm just feeling very spooky right now. I think it's because where I live, it has become very dark and depressing, and all of the spooky and creepy vibes are coming out. I also have been working in a small, dark room with the lights off by myself for the past week, so maybe it's me who's spooky. In this video, I'd love to introduce you to a couple of my friends. Just make sure you don't get too close, as they kind of have a habit of consuming souls. Additionally, I haven't known either of them for very long, so if you would like to add to their stories, maybe you've seen them under your bed or in the darkness of the woods, if you would like to share your tales about them, feel free to do so down in the comments or on our Discord. In any case, let me introduce you to our first friend. I daren't utter her name though. So if you have any ideas for nicknames for her, so we can refer to her without incurring her wrath, also put those in the comments down below. Whose story starts out oh so sweet in a cottage in a small village. Her father was a merchant traveling much of the year, and none of her siblings survived past the age of 5, so it was just her and her mother for most of her life. Until the sickness came, her entire fate turned by such a microscopic thing as a virus, though of course no one knew that in those days. They said the victims of this sickness were just those who were weak, those who needed to be weeded out of the population, or those who had angered God in some way. But of course, this young girl's mother was kind and sweet and generous, and she did not deserve to die. God had made a mistake, clearly, so the daughter sought out those who could right this wrong. A cult of the dead, they called it, and the price for bringing her mother back was to join and help in their dark rituals, learn their heinous rites, and participate in abominations. However, if it was going to bring her mother back, why wouldn't she? They demanded payment in other forms as well. The yield of the crops, her clothes, her worldly possessions, and again, the daughter gave these freely, knowing that it was all worth it if she could have her mother back. Sadly, this was all for naught, as the cult weren't real witches. Their leader, a charlatan, at best, to be honest. And so there was nothing for the girl to do but seethe in her own anger as she watched her life fall apart because of this cult. They had taken everything from her, used her hope to get money, used her mother's memory for greed. And of course, this couldn't be allowed to stand. No, no, no. The desperation emanating from this girl attracted a book. It appeared in her armoire one day, and it taught her the secrets of real death magic, simply for the price of a soul. And so the girl learned real death magic. She took vengeance on this pretend cult, and now she teaches her death magic to others, again, just for the price of a soul. And of course, she does favors for the villages, potions of youth for the price of a favor, an elixir of suffering for your enemies for the low fee of just your firstborn daughter. Those days, no one really knew the power that daughters had anyway, and so to them, this was a great price. The once sad and broken girl became the most powerful death witch in the country, and some say she's still out there, making deals to this day. Now I would love to know what her ultimate goal is, and The process of her learning this death magic, like, where did that book come from? And what happened to her when she realized that this was real magic? What does the price of a soul feel like? These are all questions I couldn't bear to ask, of course, but if you have speculations or if you've asked, feel free to share your ideas. Here, for your reference, is a quick look at some of the inspiration I had while copying her likeness. I've learned an interesting lesson, though, in that AI-generated references from Pinterest actually suck, and in fact don't have the same quality as photographs or other things when it comes to the interesting little differences in shade that occurs in skin. Speaking of skin, here we have our second friend, also carefully remaining nameless for now. While she mainly collects souls, mostly of men, she's also known to take a skin once in a while. You wouldn't believe the price a human skin goes for among those on the darker side of the veil. In any case, I tried drawing her about a year ago this time, and it was almost a disaster. Luckily, she let me live to try again this year, and I think this one turned out satisfactory. Though if you stop hearing from me after this video, you'll probably know why. This beautiful lady, I met on the road to Las Vegas. If you've never been on the road down into Nevada from the north, I can tell you now, it is quite creepy, especially at night. When you've been driving for hours and with nothing outside your window but scrubland, it can get pretty eerie. This night was particularly treacherous as it was snowing and windy and cold, and our car was always seemingly behind a semi-truck. The one bright spot on the way down, well, after you pass Boise, is Ely, or Eli. It's spelled E-L-Y. I should know this based on where I grew up, but it's fine. Ely is the crossroads where you can either take the normal way into Vegas, or by some trick of the universe, you can take the way we went. We stopped for gas and to let our puppy, Indiana, out of the truck. Poor little thing was maybe 7 months old, and he did so good. In any case, going into this town, we knew which directions to go because, the GPS was telling us to go a certain way. But after we stopped, something changed. The GPS had us turn the other way out of Ely, and, well, we were confused, but we're so used to trusting this GPS, I don't know, we just followed it. We were about 30 minutes out of Ely when we realized that this turn had somehow added an hour to our trip, which was already approaching about 16. Exhausted and scared, we drove down a road into nothingness. Pitch black the whole way, and there were no turnoffs of this road. Usually when you drive down a highway or something like that, there are places to get off the road. But on this road, nothing. The only cars we saw were stopped, lights off, no one around. The only living things we encountered were a bat that had run into our windshield and a bull, a spectral-looking bull that was just off the side of the road, huge and hulking. Naturally, when we spotted someone shining a flashlight into the road, we were relieved. Until we saw her. In case you're wondering, those eyes on her forehead are invisible when they're closed, and so she lured us. We were too close by the time we realized what she was. I was the lucky one. She finds men's souls more delicious than that of a woman, so she spared me. Maybe because of the puppy, Indiana. Who knows? All I remember after that was driving desperately in the dark and finally seeing the glow of light on the horizon. Not the sunrise, of course, but the lights of my hometown, Las Vegas. The truck with one less passenger. While I did lose a boyfriend on that road trip, it was, I eventually learned, for my own good. And so I remain friends with these lovely ladies. And hopefully now you will be friends with them too. I dread to think what would happen if you weren't friends with them. In any case, I hope these tales have put you into a spooky mood, just like me. And naturally, I wish you a wonderfully spooky and scary and creepy and eerie day. Of course, if you have tales to add, let me know in the comments. Thank you again for watching this video and listening to these tales. They were fun to tell, and the likenesses were also fun to draw. I thank you one last time, and I will see you around.